Let's freaking do this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, wait. I'm starting a podcast. You want to come up here? I think my dog wants to come up and be part of the podcast. You want to come? There we go. There we go. Sadie, look. Say hi to the podcast. Say hi to the podcast. Hi. 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 Alright, Sadie's going to be part of the podcast now. We kind of have a little bit of a crazy setup. I kind of have to have this wire if I want to be using this microphone. I do have a little wireless microphone, but I was like, no, this microphone's pink. I also have my pink sweatsuit that I just made on, you know, we got to get that Barbie theme going for the Barbie movie coming out on the 21st. But yeah, happy Sunday, friends. I feel like I'm literally just starting this podcast without even like saying, hey, I'm starting a podcast now. Right, Sadie? This is going to be extremely hard for me because I'm really used to doing videos. I'm not used to doing audios, so I'm going to have to continue to be like, for my audio listeners. I know I'm going to get better and better at this podcast thing as it continues to go on. Right now, like I said, I have a wired microphone that is attached to my computer, and that is how we're doing our audio. And we also have a video version that is also going to be going up on YouTube that I'm filming with my camera right now. But yeah, happy Sunday. Let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to just start off this podcast by kind of explaining why I'm starting a podcast, because I know everybody and their mother starts a podcast these days, but I was just like, I've been thinking about it for a really long time. I really like talking to people. I really wanted a platform to go with my brand and as well as my personal self and my personal life that I could just bring together and have it be like something spoken, you know? And I really just felt like a podcast was the best way to go about it. And I had the perfect name, I had the perfect everything. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. Like it had been on my mind for such a long time, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stop thinking about it and I'm just gonna do it. And I really just need to hit the gas on everything in my life. So I feel like that is what inspired this to be. And to lean off of that, the podcast itself is going to be called Inspired By. I have my little iPad right here next to me with just some little talking points about why I wanted to start this podcast, what I'm going to be doing with this podcast. So that way next week we can go and like hit the ground running, because this week I wanted to hit the ground running. My first podcast episode, I guess what you would say, if it's not this one, it's going to be next week, and it's going to be on imposter syndrome, because I have been feeling that heavy lately. But I figured I would do a little intro video just to introduce myself, who I am. I didn't even do, oh my gosh, I'm literally so excited that I'm just like, go. Let's backtrack. My name's Tiffany Garuba. I'm 22 years old. I'm about to turn 23. My birthday is August 20th. What else about me? I don't even know. I got an undergraduate degree in psychology. I have my own clothing brand. I am an enthusiast of mental health, all things mental health. I love my dog, who is sitting right in my lap right now. I've been content creating since I was about 18 years old. I want to say like maybe even younger than 18 years old, but before 18 years old it was kind of just for fun. And then after that, like I kind of really started to think that this is what I wanted to do. And right now I'm kind of like, yeah, this is 100% what I'm doing, and let's hit the gas and let's go, let's drive. That's kind of been a little bit of my journey. I'm sure that I will talk to you guys more about me as this podcast goes on, and you'll get to learn more about me. But like I said, this podcast is called Inspired By. And the reason why I wanted to start this podcast was because I'm genuinely so inspired by people every single day. I don't remember exactly what was the pinpoint moment that I was like, yes, I'm 100% starting this podcast. I'm 100% calling it Inspired By. I think it all just kind of came about with gaining new friends and gaining new insights of a bunch of different things. Like I moved to LA about, I would say a year ago, about a year and 2 months ago. And then I wouldn't say I was lost. Like I knew what I wanted to do, but I definitely didn't know how I was going to get there. I thought I knew how I was going to get there, especially when I first showed up here. I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go take class. I'm going to do this, and that, and my life is going to go perfectly. But it definitely did not happen that way. As I've come in contact with new people and new ideas and new things and new ways, I am just inspired every single day. And I feel like there's so much out there to learn and so many people to talk to and so many people to be inspired by. Like, you're inspired by your phone, you're inspired every single second. You are inspired. And I just feel like that's such a beautiful thing. And that's why I pretty much decided to name this podcast Inspired By. We do tend to compare ourselves so much, but at the end of the day, we're also so inspired by each other. And that's what also drives each other to like be better. You know what I mean? At the end of the day and deep down, we're all the literal same. Especially with so many people I've met. Like, I've talked about my dance struggles, I talked about my mental health struggles, I've talked about so many things, and I've met so many people that are like, oh yeah, I've been through the same thing, or like, oh yeah, I am also experiencing that, or did experience that in the past, and I didn't really talk about it with anyone. And I just think that that's, for one, so interesting, and also why I wanted to start this podcast was simply because not only am I inspired by everyone, but we are literally all the same. Deep down in our core, we are all the same human being. We all have the same stresses. We all have the same worries. And I want to bring that to light, to show people and inspire people that we don't need to be comparing ourselves to other people because we are our own person. You know what I mean? Anyways, we'll get more into that later. But another thing that I definitely want to do with this podcast is bring in some mental health talks. Just like I said in the next podcast, which is going to be next Sunday that I'm going to be dropping it, we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. That is something that I'm very interested in and looking into right now, doing my research heavily on, so I don't bring anything like too obscure to the table. But I'm definitely also going to be bringing people in to talk about their mental health, to talk about mental health together, just to see like not even really the differences, but all the similarities that we have between one another, because there are genuinely just so many that you'll be like, oh my god, I didn't even know that like 15 other people were going through the exact same thing that I am at the exact same time that I am. And if we were to just talk about it all together, we could probably get through this together, you know? Another reason I'm starting this podcast is because I genuinely just love to talk. I want this podcast to be about all things lifestyle. I didn't want to make it such a focus on mental health simply because I don't have a full degree in psychology. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology. A graduate degree is what I need to actually help people and be a licensed psychologist, which I am not. So I didn't want to come off as anything or, you know, say that I have facts that I actually don't have, because I am not that well educated in it yet, but I am more educated than most. But aside from mental health talks, I wanted to talk about other things, just lifestyle things. I don't even know what is included in a lifestyle video podcast, you know, just like how to make friends, like how to navigate your 20s, like things like that kind of still have to do with psychology and kind of still have to do with mental health, but lean more towards the lifestyle side. You guys know me, I do my vlogs, I do many other videos, I do my TikToks, my get ready with me's, but this I wanted to be a little bit more of a serious aspect of my life, because I felt like everything that I was doing was just fun, and not everything is fun and games all the time. Not everything is smiley, rainbows, happiness, pretty, you know what I mean? Not everything is like that all the time, and sometimes we do need a bit of a cry, and sometimes we do need a bit of a break. And I just felt like if anything were to go wrong, not wrong, but if anything were to dip down, if I felt like I was in a mental health state that I couldn't, you know, produce my TikToks, couldn't do my weekly vlogs or whatever because it was that bad, I feel like at the end of the day, I would still be able to talk to you guys and just have a conversation and have a serious conversation about what is going on. Because at the end of the day, you can't live your best life if your mental health is struggling. And I think we all know that. So I also think having this podcast will be a lot of fun. I genuinely think it'll be so much fun, and I think I will meet a lot of really cool people. And like I said, I wanted to bring that tie into like my personal life, my brand, mental health. I wanted to bring everything all into one and have a place where we could just talk, have a community. Eventually I would love to have not so much a group chat, because you can't have a group chat with that many people, but like, you know, if there's something like what's it like called, I think Group Me or something. No, it's not even Group Me. I think oh, what's it called, Geneva or something like that, that app that you can have like a bunch of people, a whole bunch of people, right, in like a group chat, and you all can just like post whatever, and we can all just like have a big chat. That is like ideally what I would love, to have a community of just like-minded people who also love to talk about. Did you hear that kid screaming? Who just love to talk about mental health, who are like-minded. That's pretty much all I really needed to say. Like I said, this podcast is gonna get better and better every single time. Even today, I don't really know what I'm doing. This setup is mad awkward. I also have a couch. I might use the couch instead, because this is, honestly, it's slightly uncomfy. I don't know if any of you guys have this little chair from Pure Imports that's like a rocker chair that goes back and forth, but it's not that it's uncomfy. It's just that, like, for this situation, maybe it should be a couch, because then if I do interviews, you know, we can sit on the couch. That would be nicer. But we don't know how we're gonna be for now. I think for a little bit, we're just gonna have to deal with what we've got. We might just have to stick with this wire for a little bit, which I'm not too mad about, because this microphone is actually mad cute. And I tried it and it works very, very well. I'm gonna try and figure out how to extract the audio only, and then, you know, do the whole podcasting thing. Like I said, I'm very much a video girl. I'm not an audio girl, so I'm gonna try and like get the Apple Music, get the Spotify, and do all those things so I can upload this, like at least the audio version of this, onto those platforms so it is an actual podcast. Gonna try and figure that out probably within the next week or two, but like I said, next Sunday I will be out with my imposter syndrome video for this podcast. I do have a little schedule already of things lined up for this podcast. Like I said, I'm super excited to be starting this, and just excited to see where it takes me, excited to see what ends up being talked about on it. And like I said, you guys are gonna get to know me as the podcast continues on, as we continue to get to know each other, I guess. But there's 3 questions that I definitely want to ask people at the end of each podcast, whether I have an interview or whatever situation it may be. I think these questions are so very interesting and so very important, and I don't even know if I'm gonna have answers on my own right now, because I actually haven't thought of the answers yet. But I'm gonna go ahead and just say the questions, and maybe they'll even get you thinking on them, and maybe next week I'll come back with an answer if I don't have an answer yet. But the 3 questions are, the first question is, what is one thing you would tell your younger self? If it was me, I would tell my younger self that you are so beautiful, and you are just, yeah, you're just beautiful the way you are. You don't need to try and be anything else, try and be anyone else. Your skin is perfect, your hair is perfect, and don't let anyone dim your light and tell you any different. The second question that I'm going to be asking every guest is, what is the best advice you've ever gotten that you can remember off the top of your head right now, or a piece of advice that you would like to share for others? I don't want to say that this is the best advice that I've ever gotten, but some advice that I have gotten that like the best advice. I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of really good advice. I've had my dad tell me, do to others as you would have done to you. I feel like that is a super powerful quote that I will never ever forget. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about? My staple quote. My staple quote. I don't know how I didn't remember this, but if the opportunity was given to you, no, if the opportunity wasn't given to you, what is my quote? Oh my goodness, hold on. If you weren't ready, the opportunity would not have been given to you. That is my favorite quote in the entire freaking world. There are definitely other quotes out there that I love so much that are also very good, but that quote right there, if you weren't ready, you would not have been given the opportunity. Let me tell you, that has put me through so many things in my life. And the last question is, what is the worst advice you have ever received? And the worst advice I have probably ever received is, Just things that diminished my light, things that made me think that I wasn't worthy, just whatever. I really can't think of the worst advice off the top of my head, because I probably have just, it probably honestly went in one ear and out the other. Anyways, that's inspired by, this is our podcast. Like I said, my name's Tiffany Garuba. I'm gonna reiterate, this is gonna start off a little bit rough in the beginning. We're still working out the kinks. I'm still working out the kinks. I'm a one-man show, a one-woman show. Sorry, I literally can't speak right now. I'm a one-woman show. Just bear with me with this. I'm absolutely so excited. It's gonna be mental health talks, interviews, lifestyle talks, just anything that you can think of, we're gonna be talking about on this podcast. It's gonna be serious, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be funny, sad, happy, all the things, okay? Make sure you guys check out my other videos on YouTube if you are on the audio version of this podcast. I love saying that. If you're on the audio version of this podcast, make sure you go check out my YouTube. It's tiffany.garuba, or you can just search my name, Tiffany Garuba. My TikTok is also tiffany.garuba, and my Instagram is Tiffany Garuba with no dot in the middle. My brand is tiffanygaruba.llc. And that is everything that I have to say about my social media. I feel like there's always so much, but you know, pick and choose what you like best. I'm on every single platform. Damn, I'm on every single platform. That is crazy. With my brand, like I said in the beginning, Barbie movie is coming out July 21st, and I just put out a pink skull sweatsuit to go with the movie. It also has open bottom sweatpants, which I was only selling closed bottom sweatpants before, so make sure you stay tuned. That is going to be up on the website, I'm pretty sure tomorrow. Should be tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, it's definitely going to be up Tuesday, but it's going to be up tomorrow. That's pretty much all I have to say. Make sure you go shop my brand. Make sure you go check out my other socials. I will see you guys in the next video. I will see you guys in the next podcast if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast. This was inspired by, I don't know how to sign this off yet, but thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for watching if you're watching it. This is Tiffany, and I will see you guys next Sunday on Inspired By. Bye, friends. Big purr, we're done.